I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day today to be with me and my guest. I greatly appreciate it. Well, we're going to highlight a gentleman by the name of Stuart Brown, who is the president of the Connecticut Critics Circle. And Sue, thanks so much for being here today. So good to have you.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. You know what? I wanted to also say that you're a member of the Outer Critics Circle. Why don't we first talk about you? Tell us about your background. Why don't you introduce yourself to my viewers?
I don't know, do you have enough time for that?
Well, we do have some time, so go ahead.
Well, so I've actually this is a scoop, I've just retired from my day job. I was sort of an administrator at the University of Connecticut for over 30 years, and in the Office of Student Affairs. And so dealing with college administration at UConn and some other schools. My theater background, I've been a blogger for, oh goodness, I don't know, 10, 15 years. As you said, I'm the president of the Connecticut Critics Circle and a member of the Outer Critics Circle, which is one of the three primary awards groups in New York. There's the Tony Awards, the Drama Desk, and then the Outer Critics. So I go into New York to see a lot of shows. My first show will be in just about 2 weeks, finally get back to Broadway. And then right now, my biggest passion is I guess I am the founder and operator of a 24/7 online Broadway radio station called soundsofbroadway.com. And like I said, it's 24/7, and it plays the best from off-Broadway, Broadway, and the London stage. And I like to tell people you will hear popular songs, well-known, but also obscure musicals from shows that you have never heard of. Even people that think they know show music, they're going to listen to a lot of shows that they've never heard of, some monumental flops, but still great music. So, and within Sounds of Broadway, I have a number of features. I do a weekly trivia quiz. I have started doing virtual escape rooms, so I can talk about that if you want. I have a podcast, actually I have a couple of podcasts. So I guess that's it in a nutshell.
You're talking about education and you're talking about the entertainment industry as well. How were you able to mix them up together? Did your education life, was that your path to begin with, or did you always want to be involved with theater?
I was started in theater in high school, even though that was many decades ago. People still talk about my chipmunk cheer from How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. But I was never going to be on the stage. But I started going to Broadway when I was a college freshman. And my first show was, well, a quick story. So back in the day, there were these coupons called twofers, and there were these paper tickets that were in church groups, centers, schools, and you would go to the Broadway box office and they would literally be 2 tickets for the price of 1. So my friend had tickets for the show called Twigs. We took the bus into New York. I still can't believe my parents let us take the bus from Central Jersey, because this is when Times Square was not Disney-fied, but it was XXX-fied. Went to the box office to cash in the tickets and found out that the show had closed. So my friend and I were in the middle of Times Square, and we said, well, let's go see another show. And we're looking around at marquees, and he wanted to go see this one show, and I had no desire to see this show, but he kept pleading. I said, fine, we'll go see your show. This is before there was anything like the half-price ticket booth. We paid full price, Saturday matinee orchestra. We paid less than $8 a ticket, and the show was called Grease. It was the original production of Grease back 1972. And it was the funniest, most tuneful show. And because of that experience, my friend and I would go back every so often to see shows. When I graduated high school, I went to college at Rutgers University in New Jersey, and eventually became the host of a 3-hour weekly Broadway radio show. And I was also getting press seats to go into New York. And that sort of evolved to where I am today with my own radio station and a member of various critics groups. As far as education, because I've always been in education, and what I try to do with Sounds of Broadway is educate. So it's not just here's songs, but I'm going to give you information about the shows. I want to teach you about musicals, especially the ones that you haven't heard of. Even shows that you have heard of, like Oklahoma, South Pacific, or Hairspray. But there are some fun facts or information about the show that you might not know about. So I like to do that also. I want to give you information about the shows.
How did your pathway lead you to UConn? I know you mentioned that, as well as your love of Broadway. How did the two meet, or what took you down that path?
Well, simply a job. So I was in New York City at Columbia University at Barnard College, and it was time to move out, young family. So we headed up to Connecticut because of my wife's parents and settled there and found a position at the university. And I've just been there ever since, which has been great for theater because Connecticut is probably one of the best states in the country for professional theater. We have so many equity theaters in this state, high level productions. Many of the regional theaters have won the Tony Award for Best Regional Theater. And I'm only 2 hours from New York City. So it's a great location to be if you want to be involved in theater.
Do you attend many theatrical endeavors? I mean, are you at the theater all the time?
So we'll talk pre-pandemic. I would say anywhere from 60 to 70 shows a year, and that's Connecticut and New York. A couple of times, usually around the last week of April, I would almost be doing a reverse commute. I would stay in a hotel for a week because every night a show was opening because they wanted to get opened before the Tony Award deadline. So I would see a show, go back to my hotel, wake up, commute to my job in Connecticut, go back to New York, see a show, stay over, et cetera, et cetera. So 60, 70, sometimes even more shows a year. So it can be very busy. I mean, I always say, people come up to me and say, oh, poor Stu, he has to go to the theater. He has to go to Broadway all the time. Gee, poor guy. So, I'm very lucky that I get to do what I do.
Why don't you tell us about the Connecticut Critic Circle? What is that all about?
The Connecticut Critic Circle is a group of critics based in Connecticut, and it started off when there was more traditional type of media, so newspaper, radio, TV. That has morphed now into a combination of sort of the old guard, also people that are bloggers, cable TV. So people that are doing reviews. We have a criteria, so it's not just anybody that says, I want to be a critic. And we have a number of people that have been doing this for a very long time and are very well situated within the state. So it's a group that comes together, and we have our website, which is ctcritics.org, and we post our reviews for shows, primarily the professional theaters, the equity theaters, but we also do community theaters, the touring companies, so say like the Schubert, the Warner, Bushnell, the Palace Theater in Waterbury. So reviews are posted. And then again, pre-pandemic, we would have an award ceremony. So think of the Tony Awards, but in Connecticut. And so we'd have best musical, best play, actor, actress, all the creatives. And we have found that the theaters really appreciate it, and also the actors and the creative people. I mean, if you think of, if you're an actor and just getting a job, but being recognized, and it's tough. And we've had actors that we've bestowed an award on, and they come up to the stage to get their award, and they're crying, they're thanking us because they're being recognized and appreciated. And if you go to theater in Connecticut, look in the playbill. or the program, and it'll say for the actors or directors, whatever, so and so won the Connecticut Critics Circle Award, this year, that year, has won, X number. So people do really appreciate it, and we're hoping that this year, because theaters are pretty much opening, that we can get back to our award ceremony later this year, probably around June.
One of the things I like to do is always include the viewer. There may be somebody out there that might be pursuing the avenue of becoming a critic of the theater, etc. What advice would you have for them to pursue it?
Well, I guess the first thing is, as they say in what is it in the Do Re Mi from The Sound of Music, start at the very beginning. So you have to decide what you would like to do. Let's say if you want to start a blog. Go to the theater, write reviews, and start showing some consistency. You could always contact a member of the Connecticut Critics group and maybe get a critique, but you need to show some consistency. So it's not just, I've posted 3 blogs, I want to be a member. So you need to really show that you are dedicated to this, and you're not just going to one theater. You're not going to one type of theater. If you have, if you want to start, a cable access show, social media, as far as like Twitter or Instagram, you really can't do a lot there. TikTok, maybe you go to your local paper, your local patch paper, and say, hi, can I be a critic for your paper? See what they say. And then you start to do more of the legwork to, again, get those reviews posted. I would tell people they could look at reviews on our site, look at other types of reviews, see how people are putting a review together, and go from there.
How does somebody become a member of the Connecticut Critics Circle? Do they have to show that they've been in that industry for a while to be able to apply?
So I do not have the exact criteria memorized, but if you go to our website, again, ctcritics.org, it's listed there. We want to show consistency over a period of time. So I think we want to see maybe like 8 to 10 reviews, and like I said, varied. So I see all types of shows. I love musicals, but if I was starting out, I wouldn't just write reviews of musicals. Go to Hartford Stage, Theater Works for a drama, or Yale Rep. So you want to have something varied. You want to have something that you have to say. You want to be critical, not snarky. You don't want to see how many zingers you can have, but that you have seen a production and here's your thoughts, here's the reasons behind your thoughts, and go from there. And again, if anyone that's listening says, this is something, I've been doing this, or I want to get involved, they can always go to our website. There is a contact tab, fill that out. The email goes directly to me, and I can work with those individuals.
Okay, Stu, let's hold that thought. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You're tuned into Arts and Entertainment. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Smart TVs and streaming services have taken over the television industry. VSC TV is proud to announce our presence on Apple TV and Roku to make watching your favorite shows even easier. You can access this service by downloading the Cablecast ScreenWeave app. Then choose Valley Shore Community TV from the list of channels. Select VSC TV Live to watch our channel in full HD. Or pick a show from our on-demand video library. VSC TV is your local Connecticut Midshore Valley digital connection.
And again, welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I am Deborah Gilbert, your host, and thanks again so much for being here. I'm so glad you're taking time out to be here with me and my guest. And again, I'm highlighting Stuart Brown, the president of the Connecticut Critic Circle. And Stu, thank you again for being here. Such a pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine.
Well, the bio that you sent me, let me just read it for a second. Founder and host of the 24/7 online Broadway radio station, soundsofbroadway.com, and you produce and host 2 theater-themed podcasts on Broadway and Broadway Buzz. That was impressive. Let's talk about Sounds of Broadway and what your passion is.
So Sounds of Broadway is, like I said, a 24/7 online Broadway radio station. And I started it almost 2.5 years ago. I had been doing a radio show at the college station at Trinity College in Hartford for, 25 years. And it was fun. And I love being at the station. I like working the control board, but it was an hour show a week. And, it took time. I had to drive there. If the weather was bad, I'd have to drive there. So with technology, I found out that there are companies that allow you to create your own online radio station. So that's what I've done. And I have, close to 5,000 songs, maybe, 600 musicals loaded into my database. And I create playlists. And as I said earlier, I like to include well-known, popular, but also obscure. The Broadway listening audience can be very skewed. You could have, the younger people, teenagers, tweens, and they want anything before 2000 is unknown to them. And then you have people that have been around longer than I have that remember the golden age. So it's always trying to come up with a balance. I would say people that enjoy Broadway music and want to be educated, want to be surprised. I've uploaded cast recordings that have been in my library for years. I never even heard of them. And I would pull them out and load them. And all of a sudden, this is one of my favorites. So it's really providing music off Broadway, Broadway, and the London stage. It has, I would say, and I will allow anyone to challenge me on this, the most diverse playlist out of any station, online, offline, in the world. We have a lot of shows that feature African-American artists that no other station has ever played. In addition to shows that, like I said, you just might want to sort of listen to test out. And then on the website for soundsofbroadway.com, I have a weekly trivia test. So if you like Broadway trivia, I don't make it too hard. There's a 10-question quiz. We have, I think, about 50 that are now located on the site. You just click on the trivia tab. We do a weekly cast recording. So if you have a favorite, well, if not, we take requests, but every week there's a cast recording from what I say overture to finale, so you can hear the whole thing. And then I also have started what are called virtual escape rooms. So I can talk about that in a minute if you like. But again, the main thing for people to know, if you like Broadway music, soundsofbroadway.com. I get a lot of emails from people. I'm tired of this station or that station. It's personality. It's the same old thing. You will not say that about soundsofbroadway.com.
When somebody does go to the site, do they need to download something to be able to hear the music?
No. So you can access it a number of different ways. So if you have a desktop, if you have a laptop, there is an app. So you can download an app for the iPhone or Android devices. So you can listen on your phone. What I do is I have it downloaded and then it's connected to my car's Bluetooth. So I can listen to my radio station through my car radio because I'm listening to it on Bluetooth. You can also connect it to your Amazon Echo. So once you do that, Echo Play Sounds of Broadway.com. So there are a number of different ways that you can access the station.
How was it for you to be able to start a station yourself? Did you know machine-wise what to do? Did you get somebody to help you? How did you get started?
It's very easy. It's really a computer, a microphone, that's it. So a lot of the work was downloading the music because it's all digital. So, and I've had some tech experience. So, and because I've been in college radio for many, many decades, I kind of know the talk. So there wasn't that much of a learning curve. So it was very easy. And, once I had the music downloaded, it was all of a sudden, poof, Sounds of Broadway is live, coming to you.
COVID and the pandemic, how has that affected? I know that you have talked pre-pandemic, et cetera, and I've had many Broadway actors on as guests. Are you seeing theater come back as things are changing? I know things are opening up. What does the future look like for Broadway and for theater in general?
Right now, it seems like everything is go. If you want to take it in two parts, in Connecticut, a lot of theaters are posting their shows in person this year. So starting next month or October, you're going to find a lot of theaters that are in person. Some already. Ivoryton Playhouse in Ivoryton, they had a fun show called Murder for Two in person. They had social distancing in the theater, and they have a show right now, Having Our Say. So Ivoryton is in person, but a lot of theaters are going to be in person in the States. Some of them haven't announced yet, but they will be. So I think we're going to have a pretty good slate in Connecticut. Broadway, again, they're going full steam ahead. I think September 14th is kind of like the official opening. What I've heard is, I think Lion King, Wicked, and Hamilton are opening the same night at like half-hour intervals. So probably the politicians can go to one show and say, welcome, aren't we great? And then they could run off to the next show and open that show. So as far, right now, Broadway is coming back. They are saying masks and proof of vaccination, which will be interesting to see how they check that. But it's going full steam, and they have to. I mean, the industry has been devastated, not just the theater industry, but all the industries that rely on theater, restaurants, hotels. I mean, they just can't afford to be shut down again. So it'll be interesting when I go into New York on September 15th to see my first show, to see what's there. My daughter lives in New York, and I'm going with her. And I said, hey, Sarah, can you scope out the restaurants? I don't know what restaurants are open, or the ones that we used to go to, because a lot of them might be closed. But Connecticut, New York, right now, full steam ahead.
What does the future look like for you as we go into 2022, 23, 24, and now you're in a change of life of going into retirement? What are some of the things that you'd like to accomplish?
So I would like my media empire to take over the world. I'd like Sounds of Broadway to continue to grow, to have more people discover it. It's going to be fun to actually have new product. Remember, the theater has been closed for so long, so there are no new shows. There's no new cast recordings to have people discover, for me to discover. So there's that part, and just like I said, continuing to grow, continuing to offer features that people might want that you don't find at other radio stations. And that's the fun part, is that I can really put a lot of time and effort into promoting the station. And the one thing I didn't mention, there's an email you can contact me, and one of the promos I do on the station is that, not only do I answer every single email, well, actually, that's not the way it goes. It goes, I respond to every single email And most websites don't do that. I mean, how many times do you go to a website, you fill out a form, you never hear from that person? Within 24 hours, you will hear from me. And me, not someone that works for me. You hear from me. And I've had a lot of people suggest things. Those are now part of my program. So this Curtain Up where I play a complete cast recording, someone suggested it, poof, it's now on the air. So, if you suggest something, it could happen.
Well, we are starting to run out of time. What are some of your closing thoughts for my viewers?
Listen to soundsofbroadway.com. I'm also, a quick thing to give your viewers a scoop, and this will happen in a couple of weeks, but if you check the station, and there's even a form to get onto my mailing list, but I'm doing a virtual escape room. And this is something that has puzzles and ciphers, and you discover things. And the theme is called Who Stole the Tony Awards? So it's sort of a fun adventure to find out who stole the Tony Awards this year. And you have to go to different rooms, and it's all virtual. And I think it's a lot of fun. So I would say go to my website, click on the contact tab and email me. And that way you can get on the mailing list. So when that comes out and other features, you'll know about what's going on.
Well, thank you so much, Stu, for being here. We have run out of time, and I greatly appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
And you've been tuned into Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host. Thanks so much for being here today. Hope you have a super day. I'll see you next time.